Good everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome to another episode of 10 p.m. University. So today we'll be talking about another topic that is completely unrelated to my previous topic I've done related to omega-3 fatty acids. Today we'll be talking about four traits of a great leader, right? You heard about leadership. I mean, you might have heard about your manager being a great leader, right? You might even heard about your father being a great leader. You might even heard about your boyfriend or girlfriend or who it is being a great leader, right? And you might even heard about someone who's a great leader in a specific high-tech industry, right, or in a medical field, right? So, and you might wonder, right, what is this leadership is all about, right? And so one thing I just wanted to mention, that is, leadership is not a title, right? It is not a destiny. It's a journey and it's a choice. Every single human being on this planet has a right to be a great leader, and they have power. They have everything what they want in their life to be a great leader. It just, they have to realize it, right? Leadership is not about you wake up one day and say, oh yeah, I got a new title, I become a leader. Mind you that many people think that, oh yeah, you become a leader when you get a job title. That's fine. Sometimes that happens. And not every manager is a great leader, right? There are people who are great leaders. I mean, I've been fortunate to work with amazing managers who've been great leaders. And at the same time, I've been fortunate enough to work with managers who've not been a great leaders. So that I can filter out what not to do in my life, right? What not to follow, right? So you get a perspective, right? When you get exposed to both sides of the coin, right? So you can be a 16-year-old kid. You can be a gardener. You can be a painter. You can be a musician. You can be whoever you are. You still have power in you to be a great leader. You can step out of a comfort zone and you can be a great leader. Now, you might wonder, we be talking about the leadership, right? What makes a good leader tick? What is it about a good leader which differentiates from the rest of the crowd? What all those are the skill set or the qualities a leader possess, right? Right, so let's go one by one. So the number one is the visionary, right? A great leader thinks outside the box. The leaders they know the big picture. When rest of the team, they focus on small things. A great leader knows that, okay, if we do this, if we do that, we can achieve this result, right? They think ahead, right? They think outside the box. That's why they're great leaders, right? A classic example is Steve Jobs, right? He knew way ahead of time, right? If you're going to do this, the computer industry will change, because his main purpose is not to people code, but to make people enjoy the experience when they work on a Macintosh, right? Similarly, we have Nicholas Tesla from the past, right? He was a great visionary. He imagined many things, right, which even today people can't comprehend. So, and there are similar examples if you go through our history, or even you don't even have to go through history books. I'll give you a very simple example, the recent example, which is a fictitious example, right? You might have seen the movie Avenger, Marvels, right? Everyone knows about Captain America. If you follow the journey of the Captain America, right, from the way he became a Captain America to the end game, you can see how good a leader he became, right? He leads his team. He knows, there's a famous saying in Age of Ultron, like when Iron Man said to Captain America, oh, we're going to fail if you don't build something. He said, that's fine, we'll fail together. We'll do it together, because he wanted to bring the team together, right? That's one of the quality of a great leader. So that brings to my second point. The great leaders are influencer, right? A great leader will never dictate, hey, you go and do this. That's not a great leader. Great leader influences you. They bring the best out of you. I have worked with many people in my life who actually brought the best out of me. They have given me a lot of criticism in a constructive way, which motivated me, inspired me to, up my game. At the same time, I've worked with different leaders who actually never cared. I mean, they just demotivated the entire team, and a great leader can bring the best out of the worst. A bad leader can bring the worst out of the best. I repeat, a great leader can bring the best out of the worst. A bad leader can bring the worst out of the best, right? Because a bad leader can ruin a performing team, whereas the great leader can influence a poor performing team to reach to the A game, right? So I wanted to give you one personal experience. Back in 2006, I was working in Tel Aviv, Israel. Beautiful city, Tel Aviv, great city, great nightlife. I really loved working there. So one night, because they don't have Sunday weekend, right? So they have weekend Friday, Saturday, because they have Shabbat. So I went to a pub. I remember it's on Thursday night. And as you know, that in Israel, both a girl and a guy has to go to army. It's a mandatory service, unless you have some medical issues. There are something. I don't want to get into it. So to keep the story short, I met this guy in a bar, and we happened to talk. So he was telling me he served in the army for a couple of years. And one of the things he mentioned to me, army, right? Army teaches you a lot of things in life, right? An army captain, right, who leads you to a war, right, against the enemy nation, right, has a big thing on his shoulder, right? Because he has to influence his team, because you are taking your team to the death road, right? Because you know that you're going to go into the war and you may not come back alive. Imagine the influence he has to put on his team to convince, right, we're going to do this for our nation. That's why the leader are great influencer. They influence it. They bring the power. They generate the fire in the belly in the team, right? They make sure that every team, because you don't have to, leader never asks you to follow him, right? You follow a leader based on his qualities, right? Steve Jobs never asked, hey, come and follow me. People like Steve Jobs, even though Steve Jobs, if you read his if you happen to read his autobiography, many of the developers say he was a very difficult boss to work with. But in spite of that, he brought the best out of the people. He wanted impossible tasks. When a person says, I can't do it, that's where the great leader steps in. He will make sure that you will get the stuff out of it. And the way he gets it, that's what makes a difference between a great leader and a manager, right? Okay, so going to point number 3, which is my favorite, and I strongly believe that the leader believes in cooperation, right? A leader, let's talk about a team, right? Let's say you are working in a team and you are being given a task to, run a team, a software team or a medical team or a team of a painters or a team of a musician or whatever, right? Let's say you are the leader. You got a job title as a leader, right? Let's assume for a second. Now, if you don't believe in cooperation, right, you will treat everyone the same. You will not care about the opinion, right? When there is a problem, what are you going to do? You're going to go into the meeting room and say, look, I think this is how we should do it, right? End of story. And people who are under you, they have no choice to nod their head, say, okay. Some might express their opinion, saying, look, this is not a good idea. But if you're kind of a leader, that's what I call, they are not leaders, they are bullies, right? A great leader connects people emotionally. They have high emotional intelligence. They don't treat every team member the same, because we are different human beings, right? Everyone is different, right? In a team of, let's say, 4 people have different dynamics, right? They behave different, they act different, they have different way of thinking. So a great leader has to understand that, has to connect with them emotionally, right? Because if you do that, you can get the best out of every single individual you work with. So, right, and cooperation is very, very important, because leadership is a team game. I mean, you can't do things by yourself, right? I mean, a leader can't say, look, I don't care about the team, my opinion matters, rest my way, highway. That's not how the leadership works. Leadership is all about bringing people together, taking their opinion and making a decision, collective decision. Sometimes leader has to take, a harsh decision, which may not involve cooperation in the team, but that's what the leader has to do. Sometimes they have to make a tough call. That's why not everyone can be a great leader. I mean, I'm not saying not everyone can be great leader. I'm sorry, I take it back. I'm saying not everyone knows the art of being a great leader. Everyone can learn to be a great leader, right? Because we assume that, oh no, we know everything because we got a job title. No, that's the real journey starts once your title changes, right? That's where the real start. But that being said, you don't need to have a title to be a great leader. A leader can be without a title. You can be elder brother to your to your baby sister. You can show a real leadership there, right? You can be a mother, you can be father, you can be a beer buddy, or you can, a very classic example, you can be the gym partner, who you train with. You can influence a person to, hey, come on, one more set, right? You can influence that person. A gym partner, I would say, who influences you, pushes you to the limit, step into the role of a leadership. That is a very common example you can notice, right? Okay. The last point, leaders knows when to ask for help. A great leader knows when to keep the ego aside, right? They know that, okay, things are not working, right? It's time to step out of my comfort zone. Let's go and ask for help. Otherwise, you're going to jeopardize the entire project, or you're going to jeopardize the entire, team. A leader knows, when is the right time to, okay, it's time to stop and let's go and ask for help, right? Because leaders are risk takers. That's great. They know, they're people with very high confidence. They know that, in order to, bring the best out of the team, you need to step out of the comfort zone. You need to motivate them. You need to influence them. But at times, leaders has their own limitation, right? They can't do everything by themselves. They can bring a lot of things to the table, but at the same time, leader might have to, step out of the comfort zone. Maybe some people are not comfortable going and asking, your juniors, or they think, oh, in many cultures, right? I mean, I don't want to name any specific culture. If the culture which is not a flat structure, where the flat structure is not follow, right? In that culture, it's usually people who are at top level. They don't feel comfortable asking someone at your junior level. But you know that is where the real leadership comes, because leaders don't care about the ego. They cares about the how to get the project right, to get the things done in the right way. That's where the leaders are very special people. They can make or break. When you look at high performing team or a company, right, who's doing very well, the leader is responsible for that. When you see a company who's not performing, it's often the leadership that is the bottleneck. It's causing a biggest problem, because people don't realize that a leader can make or break, right? So if you are fortunate to work in a company where you think that your boss is a great leader, I would encourage you to please reach out to them and say thank you for their leadership, right? Because it's not everyone can step into the shoe of leadership. Leadership is not an easy job, right? You have to appreciate the people who step into the shoe of leadership. It is a painful job at times. You need to make a harsh decision. You might be getting rid of people you like. Sometimes you have to do that because the business is not doing well. A leader, that's where the leadership role can be painful. At the same time, it rewards people. It helps people to, leaders often help people to be their best. So I hope you find this session valuable. So my main aim to talk about this topic is to influence you guys, whatever I learned from my experience, because I worked with many people across the planet. I've experienced working in different countries, meeting people from different continent, different personalities, right? And so I knew that, the different people can act in a different ways. And at the same time, right? It's an honor to work with those great personalities. Like my father being a great leader. I mean, I have a lot. He influenced me in many in many ways, right? In a positive way, I would say. And yeah, so I would encourage you to, step out of your comfort zone and, spend some time with yourself and think about it for a second, right? Are you a great leader, right? Are you doing all the stuff needed to be a great leader? And can people trust you, right? People should trust you. That otherwise they won't follow you, right? And think about this scenario, right? You have a job title, right? Would you, what happen if you get stripped off from a job title? Will those people follow you once you leave the organization? If the answer is no, then it's time to look back at your leadership, right? Or ask about, or forget about the job title. Be honest to yourself. Would you follow yourself if you've been given a chance, right? Would you like to follow a leader like yourself? If you say no, I don't like my own leadership, then ladies and gentlemen, it's time to change that, right? You can do a baby step at a time, but at least if you acknowledge it, there is something which can be improved. We can make a positive contribution to the world, right? Because we need great leaders in the society. Nelson Mandela is a great example of a leader, right? Such leaders are not born often. Dalai Lama, right? Amazing leadership guy. And even, you can see a lot of great leaders. Even, I'm not in politics, but, I live in New Zealand. I like the leadership of New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda. She's a great leader, the way she handled, the coronavirus response. So, there's a big shout out to her. She handled it amazingly. So these are the signs of great leaders, right? So yeah, so that being said, if you like my videos, please subscribe. My main aim is to help you guys so that you can help someone, we can change this planet in a positive way. Please come and join me so that we can change this planet together. So before you all guys leave me today, can I have 5 seconds of your time to say 10 times, I'm awesome. I'm awesome, 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 I'm awesome. Right? Great. Try this please every single day before you go to sleep. You will see a difference. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for attending. Adios from New Zealand. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.